Hello, my friends. I have some interesting things to show you today. I apologize that my last video was black, so some issues with the video screening. So I've decided to create a new video and upload it. I've come up with some new ideas, and I'll show you what I've been doing over the last little while, and I think you'll find it interesting. So here we go. Let's review first. So here I have the channel for Litecoin, and it was basically going between 0.01 and 0.02, and that's again the ratio to Bitcoin. And we had talked about this making sense to be a good buying opportunity. It seemed like it might go back up to the top of the channel again. Of course, there's no guarantee, but there is some logic to the idea that Bitcoin or Litecoin is related to Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin keeps going up, that Litecoin would follow. And if so, then we could hope for reaching the 0.02 Bitcoin ratio. And so what did happen? Well, we'll go over to our chart, and we see that it retraced. It did go back up. I had some, and so I ended up selling here. At as close as I could get it to 0.02, and the price gain was pretty significant. I'll just show the price on here. And so, I was in actually for a while. I had got in around, in the 50s. And so it had popped up, it was up over $200 to $300. And so, it makes sense to take some gains. The question is, can it go much higher than this? And I don't know. We'll see. Let's take a look at Dash. Here's the chart that we had showed in the previous videos. And we were looking, this was up to December 7th. So in December 7th, again, it was kind of at the bottom of the range. And so it seemed like, this is a good potential buying opportunity. And so since then, I've got the Dash chart shown. And here we have around December 6th, December 7th that had come down. Okay, down below the 0.05. Our channel, what we had from 0.05 to 0.075, and it's just burst right through the channel. Okay, so what's happened to the price? Let's take a look. So around here we had a price $700, and now it has shot up over, well, gosh, today it's $1,600. Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about theory here. So our idea is when it gets to one of these tops, we switch into Bitcoin, and then it basically retraces. Okay, Bitcoin's had quite a run. These retracings from right here were September 23rd over to November 8th, so over a month period. Now, this spike up is happening within a very short period of time, like a week or so. And so the idea is it possible? Like what happened with me is Litecoin spiked first. The two of them didn't spike in the same day. This one spiked up first. I got out of it and I was looking for what to do. And at the time, actually, I didn't go into Dash. I thought maybe I should go into Ethereum. Okay, so let's just first think, is there any logic to doing this? Why would I expect other things to go up as well? So I'm going to show you something. Here's an article, and this article is from I think it's Cryptocurrency News. Coinbase adds 100,000 new users a day following Bitcoin's price rally. Wow, 100,000 people. And mind you, the majority I would think are from the States, but from around the world, it could be anywhere in the world. 100,000 new users. So here's a little tweet from Alistair Milne, and he's saying this, and he's showing something on a spreadsheet. So if we go over, here's a spreadsheet that he's showing, and he has got charted the growth of Coinbase, number of users. Okay, so starting out in January of 2013, 30,000 users. Couple of months later, in March, it doubled, 61,000 users. Let's just zip down to closer today. So this article, I guess, came out in November, but here we have 13 million users now. 13 million users, 13,200,000, and then it jumps within a day to 13,300,000 users, so 100,000 users. Before that, 3 days before, from the 22nd to the 25th, it jumped 200,000 users in 3 days. Okay, prior to that, we had 5 days and it jumped another 200,000 users. So we have incredible growth, and you can see from the chart, we have this is a linear graph, so this is exponential growth. I don't know what the growth rate is, but it's pretty amazing. And so with all that new money coming in, it's reasonable to expect that these coins are going to grow. New money's coming out. I don't know that there's a lot of money leaving the area. So we can expect some growth. So we're going to try and maximize our growth. Okay, so let me show you. I want to call up Ethereum. And I'm going to need to adjust this graph a little bit so we can look at the year. And I'll get rid of the price. We'll do year to date. Okay, so previously I had talked about a potential channel running like this. And then maybe a channel running down like this. Okay, and I had talked about perhaps technical traders would be able to, draw those channels and figure that out. I'm not a technical trader, so I don't know. But I just have another idea. What if we simply assume that we take, let's say, a median, somewhere down the middle here, maybe a little bit higher. But just looking at this, I think it's fair to think, maybe this is getting a little bit low. And there's no reason why it should be quite this low. Perhaps if there is a base in here, right? We've dipped below that as a base, okay, and we can expect a bounce back. Maybe we can get a bounce back to 0.08. So on my personal trading, I thought, okay, Ethereum's a very solid bet, and so why don't I consider putting some money into Ethereum? A second thing to look at is volume. And so we can see some pretty significant volume coming in here. And you can't ignore that sort of volume. Here, when we had it falling, we had low volume, and now we're getting serious volume coming into Ethereum. And with that volume, then we can assume that we're going to get some big players coming in, people noticing that this is significantly low and, looking for a rise. So if we have this, let's say we're going to go up to 0.08 as a target for Bitcoin, then, you know, we could just multiply this out. Let me call up my calculator here. And if the ratio is 0.08 of a Bitcoin, and let's say we have 18,000 for Bitcoin times 0.08 equals 1,400. Okay, so it's not unreasonable to hope for and expect a price closer to 1,400 for Ethereum. So I ended up putting my money in around, it was around $600. And since then, let's look at the price. Get rid of these little markings. So I click on price. And as of right now, it's around 800. Okay, so I actually decided, you know what? I'm just going to take my gains, 600 to 800. That's a 25%, 33% gain, and see if I can find another pop. Okay, so what my thinking is this. Let me go back to the earlier drawing. I'll pick this one. Okay, so the idea is that when I get to the top, I switch into Bitcoin, and then I wait until it comes back down, and then I switch, getting huge gains doing that. Okay, but what if because this is such a short time period here, what if I switched into another one that hadn't risen yet? Okay, so I'm going to try and get a couple more pops in here before I put it into Bitcoin and start the whole process over again. Okay, now one of these pops here is like a doubling. The ratio doubles. So, you know, we can expect a doubling in price. This is for Litecoin. Some of them, the rise is less, but when you get into the smaller altcoins, the rise can be even more. And I think this is what's going on now, is a lot of people are just looking for the next one to pop. And it's not a great, you know, typically a great methodology. However, if we have found a channel and something's relatively low and there's nothing wrong with the company, we can look for a few factors like volume and, you know, just to see if it's low in the ratio and use that. That is a reasonable argument for a better price. So let me show you another one that I've been interested in is Civic. And I'll show you why. Civic. Erase my little line here. Okay, in Civic, we have, first of all, we'll look at the gold, the ratios. The ratio has fallen. Okay, now if we look over on the left side, it seemed like we have quite a base here. And this has actually fallen below that base. The base over here, we had 4 zeros, 0.0007 or 6. Right? It shot up, and then since then Bitcoin's been doing better, so it's fallen, and now, well, it actually went down to 4 zeros and then 1 9 or 2. Okay, so that's you know, significantly below, like 66% below this base over here. Okay, so first argument, we have a significant drop in the ratio to Bitcoin. Okay, let's look at volume. Well, we can see an increase in the volume here, right down here. And you shouldn't ignore an increase in volume, right? And so since the low here, which is around December 10th to 12th, okay, the price is at 0.28. Since then, it's gone up to 0.62, so a doubling. But I think it's reasonable. It's reasonable to, try and assume that, hey, maybe we can get back to, I'm going to split this down the middle. So, sorry, get my line back here. Maybe this level. Can we get back to 0.08? Okay. If so, we're going from under 0.04, so a ratio doubling. Okay, and when the ratio doubles, that means the coin can actually triple. It doesn't mean it's directly going to stay the same. If Bitcoin's going up as well, then you're going to get a significant gain. So that's one I've been looking at. The next one I'm going to show you, I actually invested in. I really liked. Let me erase my scribblings. So the next one is called Stratus. I've done a little bit of research on this one, and it's quite a solid company. It's got a platform. And one thing just to note while we're here is you can look up and get some other information. First of all, you can look at the markets here. When I look at markets, I can see everywhere it's traded. Here's a company I like, Binance, right? And here it's traded with Bitcoin. And yeah, sometimes you'll see it. Yeah, here, Binance, it's also traded with ETH. Okay, and sometimes it'll be traded with US dollar Tether. Okay, so you can see a couple of different markets for it. Okay, let's just go back to the chart. Oh, it's social before I leave this totally. Okay, you can see a bunch of the latest news, some links from Reddit, and then some, I guess, Twitter feed from the company, latest news. Okay, so this is actually a pretty useful little tool, CoinMarketCap. So back to our chart. So purely from a chart perspective, let me get rid of the price for a minute. Load, please. There we go. Okay, so here we see the ratio has dropped and dropped and dropped. And it really hasn't gone up that much since then. It hasn't spiked up much at all, the ratio. Okay, and so I was thinking, that there makes a lot of sense. It looks like there's perhaps a base over in here, in this area, and we're matching up with that. Okay, it didn't fall all the way down to what it was in March. Okay, but it looks like it's created a base, and typically, we're going to hope that this ratio is going to go back up. Where is it going to go to? I don't know. Here's a spot where, even if it got to here, that would be great. But I guess I'm hoping that it's going to go up more like to 0.02. So if I'm splitting this chart in half, we're down quite a bit, and I'm hoping it can at least get back to here. It would be lovely to have a spike above that. So I went ahead and purchased some coins, but let me show you other things. This is significant volume. We have a lot of volume compared, like this volume that's coming in here is highest ever. And in my mind, there are some really big players coming in, and so I'm hoping that we're going to have a nice spike. Let's look at the price. Okay, so already, without this thing, this ratio even going up much, the price has gone from like $3 up to above 12. Okay, so I ended up buying in around 10. And so just one point is, if you're just looking at a chart and you're saying, wow, this thing's already tripled, why on earth, would you buy? It's high right now. Okay, except we're looking at something different. We're looking at the ratio to Bitcoin. And the ratio to Bitcoin is, in my mind, it's telling us that there's still a long ways to go in the price rise. So I thought I'd jump on board and see what happened, see if our theory is going to hold out. So that's Stratus. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is very obscure, and I really, want people to take this with a grain of salt. But, if it'll allow you to think about on your own what trades you might like. So this is called First Blood, and what they do is they run these tournaments, and you can't see it too well here, but we have an auditorium, like an arena, filled with millennials or something, and they're having a computer game tournament, and a couple of players down here, world champions or whatever, and these people are coming and watching it like a sporting event. And this sort of thing is going on. There are millions, tens of millions of the younger generation are doing this. They love it, and they play these sort of games all the time, and they want to see the best, and they want to see the competition. And the company that's running this tournament is called First Blood, and they have a token, and people are rewarded in the tokens, and the kids basically go and they have these tournaments, and they can make money doing it. So they just absolutely love, I guess, showing off their skills. Anyway, I heard it from someone else saying this is what he thought was one of the most undervalued companies. So let's have a look at it chart-wise. And you can see a significant spike in this. Okay, and it has come way down. And if we look back in this area here, let me get my pen out. We've got a low down here, and we're actually below that. It's dipped below the low that was in March. Okay, so it's definitely reasonable to think that there is room to go up. It's a market leader, and here is, maybe a basing in here. It would be reasonable to say we could get to 0.3025 Bitcoin. And let's see what it's at right now. It is at 0.0004. Okay, so that's a 6 times growth in the ratio. Okay, so, if it got up there, let's just do our little calculation. And we have 0.000025 times, we'll just say 18,500, even though I think it's in 17,000s. Over time, it's not unreasonable to think it would reach that. $4.62 or 63 cents, and right now at 68 cents. 68 cents. Okay, so we're targeting very reasonable target of 4 times, a quadruple to get back up there. So that's the theory. That's what we'd like to see happen. Let me just mention one other thing before I end this video. One other thing about Stratus that I liked was we've also got a a former all-time high over here, and we've come out over that, dipped down under a little bit, but typically there's a lot of people jump on board when it breaks through for a new high, and these things can run. You get a here's a spot where we had a new high right there, and look at how it ran. So there's people that are go for that. I don't know, but on this one also we were hoping for a significant, like 4 times multiplication. So that's what I'm thinking now, is not moving away from pairs, keeping that in the back of my mind, but trying to get some of these other ones that I think are lowly valued, and see if I can watch them pop, and then go back into Bitcoin, and wait it out for the next time when these things fall again. And I don't know how long it's going to take for Bitcoin to start to dominate again. But let me show you one last thing. Can't help myself. Okay, so here we saw Bitcoin rising, and as we did, we saw Ethereum and other alts going down. So now, just recently, we have a drop in the dominance of Bitcoin, and we see these altcoins starting to return. And if you've been watching any of the other altcoins, they're just going off like fireworks, and you're getting doubling in a day. So I think this chart kind of shows us what's going on. And so I have some confidence that these things should keep popping for a little while. If they don't, usually what happens is the money is flooding back into Bitcoin. Okay, and when it does that, then these altcoins drop. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.